I know how it feels to be without internet, it can be super boring. But don't worry, I've got you covered. Here are the top 20 best offline games for Android and iOS in 2025. These games are awesome for when you're stuck without Wi-Fi. So, without further ado, let's get started.
Imagine driving a rusty old truck instead of a fancy race car. That's what Russian Driver US Hunter is like. Instead of smooth tracks and flashy graphics, you're navigating dirt roads, forests, and the occasional abandoned building. It's oddly relaxing bouncing around in your rugged vehicle, exploring without a real goal. There are even little story missions and odd jobs sprinkled around the map, which is a fun surprise. Autopark Inc. Car parking sim is exactly what it sounds like. You run a parking lot, but there's more. You wash cars, do repairs, and you can even take a spin around the city. The parking itself is harder than you think and weirdly kind of fun. It's not super fancy, but if you like weirdly specific simulator games, it's surprisingly entertaining. Counter-Offensive Strike. Counter-Offensive Strike is an okay FPS game for mobile. The core gameplay of shooting feels good, but controlling your character can be frustrating. It's fun trying out the different game modes, but I think it needs improvements. The gameplay should be smoother, and the developers need to do something about the cheaters. If they can fix these issues, Counter-Offensive Strike could be a lost future. Because I love zombie survival games. The graphics are alright, but the world felt kind of empty to me. It's like you're stuck in the same old places, fighting the same old zombies over and over. You know, the whole find supplies, build stuff, survive thing. If developers add new maps or new missions to do, I think Lost Future will be one of the best zombie survival games for mobile. Would you like to explore other games? The Kingdom of Dortmund is in chaos. The king has been overthrown, hordes of undead are ravaging the streets, and young Prince Marcus has disappeared without a trace. The new order is emerging. Do you have what it takes to fight back and reclaim what is rightfully yours? Immortal Prince is a blazing roguelike slasher, inspired by Hades, infused with stunning fighting scenes, deep customization and build making, all wrapped in a thrilling storyline. The story Road Driving at Brazil lets you drive trucks, buses, and more across Brazil. The graphics aren't the best, and the world feels a bit small for big road trips. It's still neat to drive in Brazil, and there's a good bunch of vehicles to try. The game has some cool features, like changing weather, too. It's like a promising project that needs a little Off-Road Driver. Off-Road Driver is all about driving big vehicles over rough ground. The game isn't super easy to control, and the graphics aren't the best. Off-Road Driver is fun if you like slow, tricky driving challenges. If you want fast races or lots of ways to fix up your car, this isn't the game for you. It's a good way to pass the time if you like off-road driving. Moto Max, Open City. Lets you ride awesome bikes in a big world. You can race, do tricks, and even tackle crazy obstacle courses. The bikes feel pretty real, and you can customize their look. The controls take a little getting used to, but the game has cool graphics and lots to do. If you like bike games, Moto Max Pro is a fun one to try. It might not be perfect, but it definitely has that motorcycle. Sclerosis, The Dark Descent is an app that makes it possible to play the classic Amnesia, The Dark Descent on your Android device. To do this, you'll need to have the game installed on your computer and follow a series of very simple instructions that the app itself will show you when you open it for the first time. Basically, you just have to move the installation folder of the game to the internal memory of the device. And that's it. After a few minutes of installation you can start playing. Resident Evil Village is a 2021 survival horror game developed and published by Capcom. It is the sequel to Resident Evil 7, Biohazard and the 10th main game of the Resident Evil series. Players control Ethan Winters, who searches for his kidnapped daughter in a mysterious village filled with mutant creatures. Explorer Ellen 3D is an adventure game where the main character, Ellen, explores an alien planet. The game involves navigating treacherous terrain, facing dangerous monsters, and overcoming various challenges. The game is available on Android devices. The game features 3D environments. Players control Ellen as she battles enemies and explores the planet. There are reviews that state that the game has some control issues, and that the map. Off-Road Masters. Off-Road Masters is a game where you drive big cars on rough roads. I like that there are different types of cars and places to drive, like mountains and forests. It's challenging, and sometimes the controls are hard to use. Overall, Off-Road Masters is good for passing time, but it's not the best drive. Gangs Fighter. Gangs Fighter is an open-world crime game. The city looks cool, and the graphics are good. It's made by the same people who made Spider Fighter. It's a good game to pick up for some quick action. I hope the developers continue to update the game with new content and improvements. Drift Legends 2 looks nice at first with its cool graphics and many famous drift cars. The controls work well, and the tracks are fun to race on. It's fun to start as a beginner and slowly become a better drifter. It's not like other racing games where you can change lots of things. Drift Legends 2 is an okay game for drifting, but it could be better if you could change more things about the cars and have different kinds of races too. Hono Truck. It's important to distinguish between a couple of different things that might come up. It's a truck simulation game where players drive trucks, often through challenging terrain, particularly in locations within Bolivia. The game focuses on transporting goods and navigating difficult roads. Hino is a well-established manufacturer of commercial. Tornado Alley. Rampage is a mobile simulation game where players take control of tornadoes and cause destruction. Here's a breakdown of what the search results revealed. Players control tornadoes, aiming to destroy various objects like buildings, cars, and trees. The game simulates the effects of tornadoes, including flying debris and environmental damage. It is available on Android devices. Starsky offers a promising concept: space exploration, alien planets, and ship customization. The core idea of space exploration and upgrading your ship is fun. If the developers smooth out the controls and polish up the visuals, it could be a much more engaging mobile experience. For now, Starsky is a decent way to kill some time if you're into sci-fi, but don't expect a groundbreaking mobile space adventure. Dead Zed isn't going to win any awards for originality. It's a pretty standard mobile shooter experience with a zombie skin slapped on it. You'll likely get a few hours of entertainment out of it, but after that, the gameplay loop feels pretty old. If you're looking for a quick zombie shooting fix, it'll do the job. But don't expect a super complex. Battle of Bullet. Battle of Bullet is an offline FPS game for mobile devices. I like that it has different game modes, especially the campaign. It's fun to play through the levels and unlock new things. The graphics look pretty good, but the controls are a real problem. It's hard to aim accurately, and sometimes my character moves when I don't want it to. I think the game would be much better